Friends, here we are going to discuss about the basis of power in the organization system. Social physiologist John French and Bartram Lavin identified five sources of power. They are legitimate power, expert power, referent power, coercive power, and reward power. So basically, we have five kind of bases of power. Here we are going to discuss about the five powers, what does they mean and how people assume they have this kind of power or somebody else has this kind of power. First, we are going to discuss about referent power. The referent power is identification with an individual who has some resources or personal characteristics, like a person you admire, something like you admire a person with some kind of special behavior or special skills or some personal characteristics, something like that. Let's suppose if individual X admires and identifies himself or herself with individual Y, then Y can exercise power over X. Y is influencing X. So Y can have some authority over X. Y can command if, but it is not necessary that X always Y always know that X he has some command over X, because maybe he is unaware and X is admiring him silently. Sometimes a person admiration for another can cause him or her to change their behavior and attitudes to resemble those of the person possessing the referent power. Generally, in organizations, people who are articulate, domineering, physically imposing, or charismatic have the ability to influence other people and hence are said to have referent power. Now, the second one is expert power. What is expert power? Expert power is possessed by the individuals who possess some special skills or knowledge about a particular subject or a particular issue, particular tool, particular program, something like that. They are expert in that particular field. Their expertise in a certain skill or area give them the confidence and self-esteem with which they can influence others. However, expert power can be enforced only when the specialized knowledge or skill is of relevance to the person on whom the power is being exerted. Let's suppose you require some expertise in computer. So obviously you are going to have this influence on the person who's having the skills. But if you don't require a computer skill, so you don't going to respect IT professional, so that man cannot exert any power on you. It's exerted only when the power the requirement for you is there, or when the requirement for that particular skill is there, then that kind of expert power can be exerted. Now the third one is legitimate power. People derive legitimate power from their position in the organizational hierarchy. Legitimate power enables individuals to punish or reward their subordinates. It has been observed that legitimate power forms the source for most of the basis of power. Means once you have the legitimate power, you can get all kinds of power like coercive power, reward power, expert power, or referent power even. So this is the base for all the powers. It is closely associated with authority. So the one who has more authority or more higher position in hierarchy level, he has more legitimate power, and this can help him getting coercive power, reward power, expert power, or referent power, any of these. Legitimate power creates an obligation on the subordinate to accept power and be influenced by it. Now, the fourth power is reward power. Employee can be influenced by reward power when they believe that their superior has the authority to reward them if their performance is in compliance with the superior's order. So, if employee is thinking that his boss has some power, reward power, then they can be influenced by him, thinking that if they match the standards or the quality, that an amount that the boss is requiring from them, then it can be exerted by his boss, as employee has the perception that boss can reward him. Reward power exerts a positive influence on individuals. Reward power has dependent on two things. One point is dependent it is dependent upon the perception of the recipient. If the individual believes that the reward is of no importance to him or her, then the reward power will have no influence on him or her. Second point is, give managers the power to administrate positive reinforcement to others, which encourage perception of positive behavior in the employees. Manager has this tool like pay increase, new equipment, promotion, praise, favorable work assignments, and recognition as rewards to their subordinates. So by this manner, by offering these things, manager can get this reward power in him, and that will influence the work. Now the last discussing is coercive power. When an individual has the ability to harm another person either physically or psychologically, then he or she has this coercive power over other individual. People tend to obey these kind of person whom they feel they have the coercive power, in fear of getting harmed physically or psychologically, and they fear that if they didn't carry out the task provided by them, by this person who's having coercive power, then they can be get harmed either physically or psychologically. Coercive power compels individuals to strictly adhere to the rules and regulation of the organization. However, coercive power may have a negative impact on the employees, as they are doing their work and job in fear of something. So keeping under fear for an employee in continuous manner can be harmful for the organization. Later on, they might develop hostility and resentment toward their superiors. People pretend to work busily when the boss walks through that area, only due to the fear of punishment, which the boss is in position to keep.